Julia's world stopped the moment she heard his voice. Julia? The sound of her name, low, stunned, disbelieving, cut through the chaos of the emergency room like a blade. She turned, and there he was, Dr. Ethan Cross. The man she'd loved, the man she'd left, the man whose eyes now stared back at her from the face of her 5-year-old son. Outside, the hospital's Halloween decorations flickered. Plastic pumpkins, orange string lights, a cardboard skeleton grinning at the doorway. But inside, Julia's blood turned to ice. 5 years. 5 years since she vanished with his child growing inside her. And now fate had dragged her straight back into his world, on Halloween night, of all nights, her son feverish in her arms. "Ethan," she breathed. He froze in the doorway, still in his scrubs from a trauma shift, dark hair disheveled, black undershirt visible beneath the V of his uniform. He looked older, harder, more defined. But it was him, the same man she'd tried and failed to forget. His gaze dropped to the boy sitting on the gurney, his little superhero costume rumpled, a paper pumpkin sticker clinging to his sleeve. Ethan blinked once, then twice, as though his brain refused what his heart already knew. "Who's this?" he asked quietly. Julia's throat locked. "My son. What happened?" "He's got a fever. He fainted during the Halloween parade." Her voice shook. The boy's small voice broke the tension. "Mommy, I don't like hospitals." Ethan stepped forward automatically, the doctor overriding the man. "It's okay, buddy. We'll take care of you." His tone softened unconsciously, the same way he used to speak to her when she'd panic before an exam. "What's your name?" "Luke," the boy said. Ethan went still. His father's name. The name he'd once told Julia he wanted to give his first son. His chest constricted. "That's a good name," he murmured. "Strong." Julia's pulse stumbled. She turned away, but Ethan was already reaching for the chart. He glanced at the birth date, and his expression changed. Shock. Calculation. Fury. He looked up. "How old is your son, Julia?" Her lips trembled. 5. He stepped closer. 5. His voice lowered, controlled, but deadly. "You ran out on me 5 years ago." She took a step back, panic surging. "Ethan, please." "That's my son, isn't it?" Silence. Machines beeped. Children laughed in the decorated waiting room beyond the door. "Yes," she whispered. The word detonated in the small space. Ethan's breath left him in a shudder. "You kept my son from me for 5 years?" Her eyes burned. "You don't understand." "Then make me understand," he snapped. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I overheard your father. He said you didn't want a family, that I'd ruin your career. Then he offered me money to leave. I thought you knew." Ethan's fists tightened. "He did what?" "I didn't take it. I just left." He took a step closer, his voice breaking. "You thought I wouldn't have chosen you. I thought you already had. Your fellowship, your ambition, your father's approval. I wasn't enough." Ethan's jaw worked. "You had no right to decide that for me." Luke stirred, eyes half open. "Mommy, who's that?" Julia knelt, brushing his hair back. "Just the doctor, sweetheart." The boy blinked up at Ethan, then smiled faintly. "You look like me." The air collapsed between them. Ethan's throat worked as he crouched. "Maybe that's because we're both superheroes, huh?" Julia turned away, tears blurring her vision. Later, after Luke was stabilized and resting, Julia gathered her coat, ready to slip out before Ethan returned. But when she opened the door, he was waiting in the hallway, arms folded, fury controlled beneath a surgeon's calm. "You were really going to disappear again? I can't do this tonight. You don't get to run anymore." Her hand tightened on the strap of her bag. I have to protect my son. He took a step closer, his voice low. Our son. She flinched. 5 years, he said quietly. 5 birthdays. 5 Halloweens. Did you think I'd never find out? Her tears fell silently. I thought you didn't want to. I wanted you. His voice cracked. You broke my heart and took the best part of my life with you. She looked up, trembling. I did what I thought was right. He shook his head slowly. The right thing would have been trusting me. For a long moment, neither spoke. The fluorescent lights buzzed above them. Down the hall, a nurse laughed, and somewhere, a child's plastic pumpkin bucket hit the floor with a hollow clatter. Finally, Ethan spoke, voice low and raw. I'm not walking away again, Julia. Not from you. Not from him. She swallowed. What are you saying? I'm saying this isn't over. He turned and walked toward the ICU doors, his silhouette framed against the glowing orange pumpkin lights, leaving her shaking in the corridor. Julia pressed a hand to her heart, watching him disappear into the sterile glow of Halloween night, knowing one thing with sick certainty. Her secret was no longer safe, and for the first time in 5 years, she wasn't sure whether to be terrified or relieved. Ethan didn't call for 2 days. Julia thought maybe he'd changed his mind, that the storm in his eyes that night in the ER would fade, and he'd let her slip quietly out of his life again. She was wrong. The knock came early Saturday morning. She opened the door to find him standing there, dressed in dark jeans and a black shirt, sleeves rolled up, hair still damp from a shower. He looked nothing like the furious man from the ER, controlled now, surgical in his focus, but his eyes gave him away. He wasn't here to talk. He was here to claim what was his. I want time with him, he said flatly. Julia's fingers tightened around the door. Ethan, he's my son, Julia. You don't get to decide when I see him. Her voice softened. He doesn't know you. Then we fix that. He stepped inside before she could stop him, glancing around the small apartment. It was clean but modest. Toys stacked neatly in bins, medical bills piled on the counter. His gaze lingered on the child-sized pumpkin bucket by the door, filled with leftover candy. Luke's voice piped up from the bedroom. Mommy, who's that? Julia froze. Ethan's eyes flickered toward the sound. Come here, buddy, she said quickly. Luke padded out, still in his dinosaur pajamas, holding a plastic sword. When he saw Ethan, he smiled shyly. You're the doctor. Ethan crouched down to his level. Yeah, I'm Ethan. The boy tilted his head. Are you Mommy's friend? A pause. Something like that. Ethan said softly. Luke's gaze brightened. Mommy said you fixed me. Thank you. Ethan's throat tightened. You don't have to thank me, Luke. I'm just glad you're okay. For a moment, Julia saw it, how easily they fit together. The same dark hair, the same stubborn chin, the same spark in their eyes. It broke her. After breakfast, Ethan straightened. I'll take him for a few hours tomorrow. We'll start there. Ethan, you can't just... He met her gaze. I'm not asking. She wanted to fight. Instead, she nodded. Sunday afternoon, Luke stood by the door, clutching his stuffed bear, nervous but excited. Julia's stomach twisted as Ethan's car pulled up. She knelt beside her son. You listen to Mr. Ethan, okay? Stay close. Luke frowned. Can I call him Dr. Ethan? Ethan, standing in the doorway, smiled faintly. You can call me Ethan for now. Luke nodded solemnly. Okay, Ethan. When they drove away, Julia's eyes filled. Watching them together was joy wrapped in pain. Hours later, Ethan returned with Luke asleep in the back seat, clutching a tiny toy airplane. He carried the boy inside without being asked. Julia followed, heart pounding as she watched Ethan gently tuck the blanket around their son. Their son. He likes planes, Ethan said quietly. Said he wants to be a doctor who flies one day. She smiled weakly. He says that about everything. He's smart and stubborn. Wonder where he gets that from. Ethan looked up. For a second, they almost smiled at the same time. Over the next week, he became impossible to avoid. He'd stop by after his shifts, bringing takeout, checking Luke's health, leaving money on the counter when she protested. "I take care of what's mine," he'd say simply. Sometimes he'd stay for dinner, for Luke's sake, reading bedtime stories with a voice soft and careful, like every word mattered. Luke started drawing pictures of the three of them together, stick figures holding hands under crooked stars. Julia tried to tell herself it was just a phase, but every night she caught Ethan watching her, his expression unreadable. One evening he showed up with groceries. "You didn't have to—" "Julia, your fridge was empty." She bristled. "I'm not your responsibility." Neither was Luke, apparently. The words hit sharp and cold. Her chest tightened. "That's not fair." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "No, it's not. None of this is, but we're here now." She looked away. "He's all I've had, Ethan." "And I've had nothing," he said quietly. 5 years of wondering why you vanished. 5 years of hating myself for not stopping you." Her voice shook. "You think I didn't hate myself too?" He stepped closer. "Then why didn't you come back?" "I thought you'd moved on." "With who?" His tone rose. "Every time I closed my eyes, I saw you walking away. There was no moving on." Julia's eyes filled. "You were everything I wanted, but I wasn't enough for your world. You were headed for everything I couldn't follow." He shook his head slowly. "You were my world." For a long moment, neither moved. Then Luke's small voice came from the hallway. "Mommy, Ethan, can you both read to me?" Ethan blinked, breaking the tension. "Sure, buddy." They sat together on the edge of Luke's bed, reading from a Halloween storybook about a friendly ghost who just wanted a family. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. When Luke drifted off, Julia turned to find Ethan watching her again. "He dreams like you," he murmured. "Restless," she smiled faintly, "and wakes up hungry like you." Ethan laughed quietly, the sound soft but aching. "Guess we made something right." The next night, Julia returned home to find his car already parked outside. He was on her porch, sleeves rolled, fixing the broken light that had been out for weeks. "You don't have to keep showing up," she said. He didn't look down. "I told you, I take care of what's mine." She crossed her arms. "You can't just walk back in and start fixing things." He finally looked at her, eyes shadowed. "Maybe I should have started 5 years ago." Something in her broke. She turned away before he could see the tears. Later that week, the truth began to unravel. It started with a phone call, Ethan's mother. Julia heard the venom even through the thin wall of the apartment. "How dare you bring that woman and her child into your life again, Ethan? We did what we had to do back then." Julia froze, heart thudding. Ethan's voice tight with rage. "You paid her to leave me? You had a future. We were protecting you. By destroying mine?" Julia stepped into the doorway. He saw her standing there, tears shining, and realized she'd heard everything. "Julia," she shook her head. "So it's true." He reached for her. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't." She pulled back. "You think that makes it easier? Please, let me fix this." Her voice broke. "You can't fix 5 years, Ethan." But later that night, when Luke spiked another fever, all their anger fell away. They drove together to the hospital, silent except for the child's shallow breaths. Ethan's hand never left hers the whole way. At the ER, he barked orders like a man possessed, refusing to leave his son's side. Julia sat beside Luke's bed as machines beeped softly around them. Ethan knelt, voice low. "I can't lose him." Julia whispered, "You won't." His eyes found hers. "I can't lose you either." Her breath hitched. "Don't say that." "I never stopped loving you." Tears fell down her cheeks. "You don't mean that." He cupped her face. "I looked for you, Julia. For 2 years I searched. Do you know how that felt? I thought I was protecting you," she whispered. "The only thing I needed protection from was losing you." Her lips parted, trembling. "Ethan," he leaned in, voice breaking. "Why did you leave?" The truth spilled out, quiet and devastating. "Because I thought you chose them over me." He exhaled hard, forehead resting against hers. "Never." A beat of silence. Then slowly she lifted her face. Their lips met, soft, desperate, years of pain folding into one impossible moment. The door swung open. A nurse entered. He's stable now. They pulled apart, breathless. Luke stirred weakly, blinking. Are you and Mommy going to be together now? Ethan swallowed hard. We're going to try, buddy. Julia looked at him, eyes wide, heart aching, and for the first time since that Halloween night, she dared to believe it might be true. The leaves outside Ethan's townhouse rustled in the late October wind, scattering across the driveway where Julia stood frozen. She'd come to drop Luke off for the weekend, but Ethan's face when he opened the door told her something was wrong. His jaw was tight, his voice low. My parents hired an attorney, he said. They're threatening to file for custody. Julia's knees weakened. What? They think I'll win if I go through the courts. That I should take him away from you for stability. The disgust in his voice was palpable. They think money equals love. Julia's pulse roared in her ears. Ethan, they'll destroy me. I can't fight that. He stepped forward. You won't have to. Her voice cracked. Don't make promises you can't keep. He caught her wrist before she could turn away. I'm not my father, Julia. I won't let them take him, or you, away again. Her throat tightened. You say that now, but when it comes down to it, don't. His voice broke through her fear. Don't you dare run from me again. Tears spilled. You don't understand. I can't lose him. You won't. His grip softened. And you won't lose me either. Not this time. Something inside her gave way. The fight that had carried her through 5 years of single motherhood drained out of her, leaving only exhaustion and a fragile kind of hope. She nodded once, silent tears streaking her face. Ethan exhaled. Then we do this together. The next morning, Ethan faced his family. The Cross estate loomed behind him. Columns, marble steps, cold perfection. His mother sat poised on the veranda, pearls gleaming like armor. I came to make this simple, he said, standing tall. You will stay out of my life. Out of Julia's, out of Luke's. His mother's tone was icily calm. You think we'll allow our grandson to be raised by a woman who... Don't. His voice cut like a scalpel. She's the mother of my child. The woman I love. The one you tried to buy off. His father stepped forward, voice heavy with disapproval. Ethan, you're emotional. We were protecting you. No, Ethan said. You were protecting your reputation. He took a step closer. I'm done letting you decide who I am, or what family means to me. His mother's composure cracked. You'd throw away everything for her? For them. His tone was final. You can keep your fortune, your name, your control. I have what matters. He turned and walked away, leaving the stunned silence of the Cross estate behind him. That night, Julia opened her apartment door to find him standing there again. Raincoat over his black shirt, tie loose, eyes tired but steady. He held something small in his hand. What's this? She asked, voice cautious. He handed it to her. A small silver ring, simple, unadorned. Marry me, he said quietly. Her breath caught. Ethan, not because of Luke, because I can't spend another day without you. Tears blurred her vision. What if it falls apart again? He stepped closer. Then we fix it together. Her hand trembled around the ring. Ethan, we've lost so much time. He smiled faintly. Then let's stop losing more. For a long moment, she stared at him. This man she'd loved and lost and somehow found again. The man who'd fought for her when she didn't believe she was worth fighting for. Slowly, she nodded. Yes. The word left her lips like a release. Ethan's eyes closed briefly in relief before he cupped her face and kissed her. Slow, reverent, deep enough to feel 5 years of separation dissolve between them. His hands framed her jaw. Hers clutched his shirt. The taste of salt and forgiveness lingered between them when they finally broke apart. It's like coming home, she whispered. He brushed a tear from her cheek. You are home. They married quietly 2 weeks later, in a small garden behind the hospital where they first met. The sun hung low, golden through the trees. Julia wore a cream dress, Luke in a tiny black vest and bow tie. When the officiant asked if Ethan promised to love and protect them both, his voice didn't waver. Always. Julia's voice trembled when she said, I do. Luke clapped when they kissed, shouting, Finally! Ethan laughed against her lips, lifting the boy onto his hip. For the first time, they looked like a family. Life after that wasn't perfect, but it was real. Ethan found a small house outside the city, a place with a yard and a swing set, where Luke could run barefoot in the grass. Julia transferred to the pediatric ward nearby, finding purpose in helping other scared mothers who came through her doors. Every night, she and Ethan would sit on the porch after Luke was asleep. Sometimes they'd talk about the lost years. Sometimes they'd say nothing at all. Just sit there listening to the crickets. Her head on his shoulder, his hand resting over hers. One night, as Halloween approached again, Julia joined Ethan and Luke carving pumpkins on the porch. Luke was 6 now, older, louder, but still the same bright light in their world. He looked up grinning, pumpkin goo on his fingers. "Mommy, are you and Daddy gonna wear costumes tomorrow?" Julia froze. It was the first time he'd said it. "Daddy." Ethan blinked, the knife still in his hand, eyes shining. "Yeah, buddy," he said softly. "I think we will." Luke nodded firmly. "You can be the doctor hero, and Mommy can be the pretty nurse." Julia laughed, tears threatening. "Sounds perfect." Ethan reached over, brushing a streak of pumpkin from her cheek. "He's got your imagination." "And your stubbornness," she said, smiling. "Then we're in trouble." She looked at him, eyes filled with quiet affection. "No, we're finally safe." A year later, on Halloween night, Julia stood in the doorway of their home watching Luke run through the yard in his superhero costume. She was holding their newborn daughter in her arms, a tiny bundle with dark hair and the same wide eyes that had once stopped Ethan cold in a hospital hallway. Ethan came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "She's got your smile," he murmured, kissing her neck. "And your patience," Julia teased. He chuckled softly. "Then she's doomed." They watched Luke twirl under the porch light, laughing as his cape brushed the carved pumpkins glowing at the steps. Ethan tightened his hold. "Every day I think about that night, about how close I came to never knowing them." Julia leaned back into him. "Every day I'm grateful you walked into that ER." He turned her gently to face him. "You saved me, Julia, both of you." Her eyes softened. "You brought us home." Their lips met, slow, certain, not desperate this time, but whole. Luke's voice called from the yard. "Come on, Daddy. The candy's getting cold," Ethan laughed, pulling back. "He's got my sweet tooth, too." Julia smiled. "You coming?" He grinned. Wouldn't miss it for the world. As they stepped into the glow of jack-o'-lantern light, Luke grabbed their hands, his small fingers warm and sure between theirs. The three of them walked down the path together, the night alive with laughter and distant echoes of children shouting, "Trick or treat!" The air smelled of cinnamon and pumpkin, the same way it had the night everything began. Julia glanced up at the moon, then at the man beside her. For years she'd lived in fear of the past catching up. Now she finally understood. It had caught up for a reason. Ethan looked down at her, eyes full of quiet awe. "You know," he said softly, "for a woman who hates hospitals, you sure made one miracle happen in one." She smiled. "Maybe 2. He looked at the baby sleeping in her arms, then at Luke swinging their hands. "Yeah," he said. "Maybe 2. They walked on together through the crisp Halloween night, laughter carrying into the wind. Proof that love doesn't vanish, it only waits for the right moment to return. Because some stories don't end with goodbye, they end with coming home. Love doesn't always get it right the first time, but when it's real, it finds a way back. Thank you for listening to this emotional journey. Rate this story 1-10 and tell us, do you believe in second chances? Subscribe for more heartwarming romance stories.